Before we start fish species, today I want to shout out CW Aqua Hobby for recommending the fish for today's video. So if you guys want to get a shout out for next week's, definitely recommend a fish down below. Recommend something different. Something that's usually not on YouTube a lot. You always see all the community fish talked about. Almost every fish is talked about too much, and so I try to change it up. Let's talk about fish that we haven't talked about, really you don't see much. So yeah, if you recommend a fish, you get a shout out. So today's was CW Aqua Hobby, and he recommended the Sunset Honey Gourami. Now for this video, as you see in the title, I just put Honey Gourami, but everything I say in this video goes for the Sunset Honey Gourami and the Honey Gourami. So they're both so similar, I just thought I would throw them both in and talk about both. So I guess we should start off with the picture here. This is the sunset. So the difference between the honey and the sunset is obviously sunset, which is what is yellow, and so the sunset gourami is yellow, and it will have a little orange, but I've never seen a lot of them have orange like that. But it's basically kind of a hybrid of like the honey gourami, which it probably isn't, but that's what I always kind of think of it as. But the honey gourami is obviously the same thing, but orange, which I guess you could say honey's kind of orange. I don't know. But actually, it kind of is now that I think about it. But I don't know if that's how they got their names, but that's what they're called. But honey gouramis, especially these two types of gouramis, which they are dwarfs, so they don't get big, only getting about 2-3 inches at the most. But these two gouramis, they're one of probably the most peaceful out of all the gouramis. I've had gouramis, dwarf gouramis in this tank. They are peaceful. They will do great in a community tank, but at the same time, they will get nippy. It's obviously different for everybody's gourami, but as I experienced, they always, once they get settled in and find territories, they just seem to get a little nippy. So, obviously saying that, you could probably assume that and from the title, that they're very easy to keep. Gouramis to me are probably the hardiest fish ever. You can't kill those things. To me, the only thing to kill it is to take it out of the water and not let it breathe. That's like the only way to kill that fish. And same goes kind of with plectos. Well, some people have bad experiences, but I've seemed to it's almost impossible for me to kill a plecto for some reason. But my plecto's going on strong for like 2.5 years now. So now gourami, it is a tropical fish, so anything 75 plus, obviously not over like 82. So if you have a preset heater already at 78, you're good. If you have one that you can kind of choose the temperature, if you're breeding, that's probably a different story. You probably want to maybe, they are from like Asia and like in the area of that country, and they're from like rivers. They're from like little I don't know if you'd call them like kind of just like water pits of water throughout Asia and stuff, and they're used to a lot of just mushy plants, just really I guess you could say a lot of just basically plants and where they're from. So I would say for a setup, definitely a planted tank would, or really just protection, something they can hide from, is definitely a good idea, because as you can probably, if you've had a gourami, any gourami, you can probably tell that some of them are pretty shy sometimes. Some of them aren't, but mine never was. But I've seen so many people that their gouramis are so shy they hide all the time. You're probably gonna stress them out if you don't have hiding spots. So especially when you're first putting them into the tank. So having a fairly good planted tank, or even if it's fake, it's probably good to have some hiding spots here and there. So I plan a tank would probably be nice, a setup. You know, tank wise, if you're keeping a pair, if it's the only thing you're keeping, I think a 10 gallon could be perfectly fine. But if you're wanting to keep, you know, multiple things, if you're keeping a pair of Gouramis, I would not put a pair in a community tank. If you're wanting to put in a community tank, I would just get one as a centerpiece. Obviously, if you go way bigger and you have way more hiding spots, you could definitely have more. But most people that get a Gourami usually they're usually beginners. But us people that kept aquariums, we like Gouramis too. So, but I guess like I always forget to say like prices if you're wanting to buy honey Gouramis and Gouramis. You're looking around $6 to at the most $12, and I probably should translate that to like UK or something in pounds, but I'll start trying to translate because I know a lot of people from other countries watch me too. But so yeah, their diet, um, omnivores, so anything will work. Flakes, pellets, um, frozen food. They'll eat it all. I mean, they will get picky. Mine was actually really picky. It never ate, but for some reason was still alive like all these months. So I think the best I've seen is live food, or really just frozen food. Bloodworms, stuff like that. Anything that gets frozen, mysis shrimp, any of those things. Maybe some squid. I mean, whatever you have in your area. But they seem to like that food better. The flakes and pellets, it depends. I've seen plenty of people that use it and they fine, but for me, it never worked. I always had to feed it bloodworms. But I guess I forgot to mention the um the Gourami is almost. I don't think it's related to the beta. I might be wrong. Who knows? But I don't think it is. But it's closely like its bodies are almost the same. It can actually breathe from the surface, so it can take in oxygen, which most fish can't. So it's just like a beta. So when it's breeding, it's gonna make a bubble nest, just like any beta would. And so when they're breeding, obviously you're gonna have to have a pair that breeds, and they're gonna build a nest, which is a bubble nest. And after they spawn, the female should be moved to another tank. Either that's a separate tank, just a holding tank, whatever. Just make sure you put it in a separate tank. And then the larva, which is kind of the eggs, um, should hatch in like 2 3 days, 24 36 hours, and they'll basically be hatched and free swimming after a day or so. But after they're hatched, you should make sure you take the male beta. I mean not beta, the male Gourami out too, because you don't want the male because they're gonna actually eat them if you keep them in. So make sure after a pair of Gourami breeds, you take both of that pair and put it to another tank, or they will potentially eat their babies. But and also they have, which I was looking at a picture right here. They have, let's see if we can focus. They have these, you see these. Some people might be wondering. They see it, some people that never seen these fish before. They'd be wondering what the long, tentacle-like things are coming from their, neck, and that's actually, it's kind of like little arms. They actually go, they can sense stuff with it. It's like a little cell. It can detect food off the bottom. It can detect when a fish goes by. It does a lot of things. A lot of other animals, even not just fish, have stuff like that. But that's basically what they're used for. So, and angelfish have the same thing. If you ever see, all it is its senses. It's kind of like mini arms. That's all you need to know about that. But yeah, that's a little little video about the honey Gourami and the sunset honey Gourami. And so Great suggestion by CW Aqua Hobby. I definitely loved learning about this one. I seen them before. I just didn't know that they were actually called the sunset honey. But definitely different. We haven't done a Gourami yet, so I'm actually kind of cool that he recommended one. So if you do want to be in the next shout out for the next one, definitely put down a fish, even if it's even if it's something totally random. You know, something that's very exotic. Hey, I'll do it. I'll research it and make sure I give you guys the right information, and we'll do a video for next week, and you can get the shout out. So, and also if you want to do for the plant series, um, you get a shout out for that too. So nobody's actually recommended plants yet. I've had to do it like for the past, since it's begun. But if you do want to recommend that, you will get a shout out to that too. Hey, and if you recommend a plant and fish, double shout outs. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.